what's your funniest story or moment about Carol?
Jeez, Carol's in all my stories. No, funniest moment or story about Carol. Well, okay. Oh, I had her for Secret Santa 2 years in a row, which is just like,
That's crazy. What
there's
are the
20
odds?
people. What are the chances I get Carol twice? But I gave her an NYU hat that she particularly disliked. Yeah, I saw it in Dick's and I was like, I need to.
That's so
Carol.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have like a ton of shoes, and one of the like for Christmas like 3 years ago, my dad bought me these like wicked nice purple ones, and I showed up to practice with them, and like in front of the entire team, she was like, "Go back to the locker room and change." And I had to like walk across the court and like change my shoes.
The walk of shame.
Yep. Everybody was literally just standing there like.
She's so extra. She hates purple.
Oh yeah.
What's one of the most funny Carol stories you have?
Oh, funny Carol stories. I think probably the best, and I happened to be on the basketball court as it was happening, but witnessed the entire thing. I think she still does it. She puts a little cup of water right on the scores table, right on the end. And she had gotten super frustrated at an official, and she just took her backhand and whipped that cup, and it soaked Scott, and he just stood there and took it all and like didn't even flinch. And it was just one of those things that you're like, Coach, you just soak Scott. And again, I love that. And that's part of the reason I, appreciated playing for Carol was, she was a competitor. She still is, wants to win at all costs. So that's exactly probably what my reaction would have been based upon I'm assuming it was a really bad call that was made by an official.
Mm-hmm. What is your funniest story or moment about Carol?
Oh, Carol. I feel like there's two that are like Carol in a nutshell. One time at practice, she was really mad she was screaming at us, and she had a ball in her hand, and she like turned and punted it, and she kicked the ball, and instead of it just like flat, like rolling away or something, like she punted it over like the curtains, like it just sailed over the curtains, and all of us were like and just like busted out laughing because we were like, that was good. And so she, I think, kind of started laughing too at that point, but she was just so pissed off at us. She just punted the ball over the curtain. And then my other favorite Carol story is when we played NYU, there was like one girl on the team who was a word I won't use, but at some point in the game I had like tripped the girl and she fell in front of the bench. Carol like leaned over and was like, "You're a punk, Ryba." You're like yelling at the girl. She's gonna edit this out. I know this will not make it, but I remember being like, "Yeah, Carol, you tell her."
That's so funny. She yelled like at the girl on the floor.
She's great. Yeah, things are that was like a tense rivalry we had at that time. I don't know, is it still like that with you guys, or?
Yeah, we're still rivals. She doesn't let us like wear any purple.
And she still has that.
I guess it's not that intense. Like I don't think she'd be like yelling at Janine Cuffey. Like
well, they had, and at the time NYU for us had like a couple like really kind of nasty, they were good players, but they were like, jerks. So that's where it came from. Like this girl would get teed up like every game that we played with them. So she was deserving of Carol screaming at her in her face. But
yeah, I can definitely. Awesome. I honestly like I see Carol doing that. Like to like a really like nasty player just being like.
Yeah, if she gets riled up enough, and it was a good moment I thought for her.
What is your funniest story or moment about Carol?
About her, or that included her, or like does it not matter?
That one is funny. So honestly, like anything my child will be good too.
Yeah, anything. I know what one that you're gonna tell the pussy. What? No, I'm not.
Wait, what? Oh, no,
just really keep that one
it's
too.
Not even really that funny. It's
No,
just,
but like, okay, so I was gonna say.
Do this again, not recorded.
Yeah. I was gonna say my like funniest or favorite moment would be
again, my junior year. What a gem of a year. Anyways, so we had, I think, like 5 or 6 seniors that year. 4 of them lived all together in a mod. And you guys still have, do you call it the mods?
Yeah.
Well, I know it got redone, so I didn't know if they renamed it.
Okay.
Anyways, so we had 4 seniors in a mod, and then we had Angie living in grad. So Angie would spend most of her nights on a blow-up mattress in the mod because she was just like wanted to sleep the extra 20 minutes, you know, who doesn't? So anyways, they pulled a prank. The seniors living in that mod pulled the prank on Angie. So background on Angie. She's really just like into her coupons, doesn't want to waste a dime. If it's free, it's for me attitude. So Carol had lent Angie this big blow-up mattress that cost like $150. And we were all bored one day. So Casey, who lives in the mod, emails Coach and she goes, Coach, we're going to play a prank on Angie. We're going to tell her that the air mattress has popped. And since it's her responsibility, you lent her the air mattress, she's going to have to pay you back for this air mattress. So Coach was basically like, okay, word, I'm in. Say no more. So Coach sends, you know, the email goes out with Angie just copied.
CC'd on it.
CC'd. Coach, the air mattress has popped. We understand, you know, it's Angie's responsibility to keep an eye on this. Casey popped it because she jumped down the mod stairs and it's deflated. So Coach replies, Angie, I'm totally disappointed in you. I lent you this air mattress, you know, thinking that you're responsible. I expect it to be replaced. Here's a link to the exact air mattress, and it was like $150. Angie replies to the email, like, and Angie now is like panicked. Oh my god, I had to spend $100 on an air mattress. And she's like, she replies to the email, Coach, I totally understand. I need to be accountable. This is something you lent to me. Then she sends a side text. You assholes. I can't believe it. Don't talk to me ever again. Don't ever mention my name.
You guys
Forget my name.
friends.
Lose my number. You're not my friends. Something along those lines.
I didn't like you guys anyway or some shit like that. I never liked any of you guys anyway. Something along those lines.
It was so funny. And then in her reply to Coach, meanwhile, these girls are Angie's best friends. She replies to Coach's email and says, the people in the mod. But it was like our teammates, the people in the mod, just to, you know, general label.
Oh my god.
But that was probably my favorite because it was just like so fun to get Coach in on it.
Did nobody take offense?
No one took any offense. And then we had to tell her, you know, it's a joke. And then she was like, yeah, then she was even more pissed. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's a good story.
It is such a good, it was so funny watching it unfold. So yeah, I loved that. Yeah, I loved that.
What's your funniest story or moment about Carol?
Plenty of these, but I think my top one was her reaction after realizing we forgot the athletic trainer at Gosman when we left for the airport for a weekend trip. We made it halfway to the airport before we realized we left. I forget if it was Lisa or Nikki, but we left one of them behind.
Oh, cutting to our next subject. Ooh. What's the funniest story or moment about Carol?
I used to just do such stupid stuff. I don't know. Whenever she would yell at me, I would actually kind of laugh. Yeah, she's probably going to tell you eventually these lines that she has in her forehead are caused because of me. I don't think so. But she says that they are. Funny story. Just her like hitting her heels and stomping during every game, and like either like she thought it was a bad call but it was the right call, or she can, I don't know, she would just be yelling to yell and she'd just be like stomping her like heels, and all I wanted was one time for her to just break one just so I could be there for it, but she never did. I don't know, what I need to know other examples people are given. I don't want to throw Carol under the bus.
Like I heard from other, like there were some insane stories that like like some weekend insane stories, but that they had to cut out.
Ooh.
They're so intense.
Funniest moment. I don't know. Honestly, it's not funny. It wasn't funny in the moment, but like looking back, like honestly, probably any time I got in trouble. Yeah, that's probably the funniest moments. Well, because Carol always says, if you do something wrong, I better hear it from you and not someone else. Yeah. And I like took that to heart because I started getting in trouble real quick once I got on campus. Like freshman year, we like during winter break, you get like one of the brand vans to like if someone doesn't have a car, so there's like transportation for everyone. I don't know why, but people put me in charge of the brand van as a freshman. And we were going to the mall, and it was like me and 2 other freshmen, and we were driving. And I had a fast pass on my car, but not the van. So I just drove through the fast pass. We got a ticket. Apparently that was the worst thing in the world. I had to like fold and lick 1,000 envelopes for Carol's camp that summer to send out to people as my punishment.
Really?
Yeah. So she definitely got creative with her punishments, for sure.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting punishment.
Yeah.
What is your favorite, or what's your funniest story or moment about Carol?
I think the funniest moment was like I think it was my senior year, and we had one of the most awful losses. Like I don't remember who it was against, but like we just should not have lost to the team we lost. And like in the locker room after the game, kind of like what happened? Like she was the speech, and little Sarah was in there, and she, like Carol's obviously like getting mad at us, yelling at us, and little Sarah called her a monster. She's like, "You're a monster," and we're all like trying so hard not to laugh. I think I was eating my shirt, trying not to burst laughing. I thought it was so funny, and like obviously wasn't the time to be cracking jokes, and very upset. But I think Sarah had to leave after that moment.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, all right. I don't know. This might like take that place then. The next question is, what's your funniest story or moment about Carol?
Oh,
Like,
I mean, yeah, that.
okay.
Yeah. But I think that also just like other funny memories would just be just like any time when we were at Carol's house, whether it was like the barbecue before the season starts or like around Christmas. I mean, like Carol is one of the funniest people I know. Like whenever she is like making fun of us and like she thinks that she's being like, like she's really goofing on us, like it just makes us crack up like a million times more. So like I feel like all those moments would be like the entire time that we were at her house, which was always fun. I loved whenever we went over there.
What's your funniest story of Carol?
I have two. So one, we were playing at WPI, and I don't know if we were losing, but I'm sure you've seen it, even though she's not coached in a game, stomps her foot, and she wears those heels, and so she stomped her foot and sprained her ankle, and so she was like limping the rest of the game. Which was pretty hysterical. She kept the heels on though. And then we were at practice, and I had slept weird. So like literally, so my shoulders are like relatively even now. I woke up and my shoulder was like this, and I couldn't like turn my head to like do anything. So the trainers tried to put stim on me, and I tried to tell Carol like, hey, listen, like I can like lift my arm to here. Like I'm gonna try and practice, and like hopefully it loosens up, but like we'll see how it goes. So within the first like 40 minutes of practice, we would always have to do like 20 minutes of shell drill. And Carol literally, I think, was picking on me and was like, Carm, get your head on a swivel. And meanwhile, like I'm like this, like trying to track the ball. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like
oh man.
I guess I have a follow-up question. Do you guys have a funniest memory of something that happened with Carol or about her or anything?
Pam, tell it.
Well, Carol, when we were there, I think she still does dresses like, she wears like her business suits or she's always dressed really nice. And right, does she still wear?
Yep, and the heels and everything. Yep.
She wears high heels and skirts and pants.
Yep.
And it was Carol's, when we first started, it was her first year as the head coach. And I know we were not that far off in age at the time, and we, I don't know, she sometimes pretended to be angry, trying to, I think, inspire us or motivate us. And she was like, we were just not playing well, and she was yelling, and then she turned around and she kicked the chair and her high heel got stuck in the corner of the chair, and she couldn't pull it out, and had to pull her foot out. And it was like all the yelling was like just ended because we were all now laughing. Better. I think we played better because we were all laughing after that.
Yeah. Was it during a practice or a game?
Oh no, it was a game because she was all dressed up. Yeah, it was a game. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I don't know if she remembers that, but I remember that. Are we your oldest alum that you're going to be talking to?
Yeah, but I think you guys are probably the oldest ones. I'm pretty sure. I had my last one was with Maria Jackson, who graduated in 2017. So it was kind of interesting to see like the difference between the two age gaps. But yeah, it's cool.
That's neat. I know.
Yeah.
That Carol, like her first year was with us, you know, and she's been there. I think one of the questions it was like describe Brandeis women's basketball, like 3 adjectives or whatever, and I'm like, it's like Carol Simon, like she's been there for so long, you know. She is Brandeis women's basketball
legend. Oh yeah,
definitely.
She was an assistant our freshman year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sophomore year she took over.
Wow.
And it's been so fun to like follow the team and the progress and just the success, and it's great. And keep us connected.
Oh, and it's cool because Carol keeps she keeps everybody connected.
Right.
You know, she came to my wedding. She sends me an anniversary card or a call or a text every year and on my birthday.
Christmas card.
You know, and that's been 30 years.
Wow.
Ooh, I like this next question. Okay. What is your funniest story or moment about Carol?
I tore my ACL my junior year of high school.
Okay.
Going into my junior year, coming like the end of my sophomore in a state semifinal game. And Carol had been recruiting me for a while. She had seen me and always, you know, made sure to reach out and make contact. And she was one of the only coaches that during my injury, while I was rehabbing and after, completely stuck with me. And at no point ever made me feel like she was taking a step back in like how much she wanted me or her recruitment in me, which made me just trust and want to go play for her so much more than honestly everybody else.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. What is your funniest story or moment about Carol?
Oh gosh, she can be so silly sometimes. I mean, I have many funny memories that weren't funny at the time, but when I think back on them and I imagine her, it makes me laugh. So mostly they have to do with like, poor Carol, we weren't very good. So a lot of times she was frustrated, but just remembering her, like sometimes she would just get so mad at the refs, and I can just see her, if I'm sitting on the bench, I can see the back of her with her cute little dress on. She's just jumping up and down and like this. And, you know, it was an intense moment then. It was irritating and everything, but now that I think about it, it just makes me laugh.
It is funny. Did she make up like all types of random words when she was angry?
Yes, because I think like it's hard, she was trying to get things out, and sometimes I think her brain is ahead of her mouth, and you just don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah, that's one of my like favorite things. It's like, it's not my favorite thing, Carol. When you watch this, it's not my favorite thing, but when she comes up with like the most like random words, and like you just sit there and you're like, oh, I wonder what that means. But she's like so angry that you don't want to be like, you know,
right. You have to like cover up your face or whatever. Like, I'll come back and think about that later.
Yeah, I'll think about it later. That's funny.
If Carol didn't coach you, so
No.
How did your relationship begin with Carol, and how has it grown?
Well, let's see. I've always given, you know, as a teacher and a coach, and then we moved to Orlando and I had kids. And then I always gave money to the school a little bit. And then what happened? I would always sponsor a player, you know, and Carol, I would get these emails from her and I would sponsor a player, like, I forget how much it was, like, I don't know, $500 or $200 or whatever, to provide uniforms and stuff. And remember, I was a scholarship kid too. So I really understood how difficult it can be. And I used to tell people, oh yeah, I got a scholarship to play Brandeis at play basketball at Brandeis, but they weren't giving scholarships in those days to basketball players. But then my husband was starting to retire and doing well, and he was giving money and setting up some scholarships for Florida kids going to UMass Amherst.
Okay.
So I said, well, so David said to me, well, what do you want to do for Brandeis? I said, well, I'd like to do a scholarship for somebody going to Brandeis. Well, as we researched it, and I had talked to Alan Berman, I think is the guy in charge of scholarships. He said, well, you really can't do that. Brandeis doesn't give athletic scholarships. You know, they don't do that. So I said, well, what can I do? So, you know, he said, well, you can just give money and just designate it to the women's basketball team.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do, because that was the most important thing that I took away from Brandeis when I was there. Just having that, it kept me grounded when I wasn't having identity crises and, you know, whatever, protests or whatever. I go to basketball practice and it just kept you grounded. It was something that I knew I could do. I felt comfortable doing it. So that's how I started. And I just started just giving money, and I trust Carol to use the money as best she can. And she does.
Yeah.
And right now we're successful, so I can still do it. And I always feel great about doing it. Doesn't go to anything else. I always make sure it's designated to Brandeis women's basketball team.
Well,
So,
we really appreciate that.
well, I'm always happy to do it.
Thank you.
Okay.